Hey everyone, two things on this live stream. I will talk about my fight, which is coming up in just a few days. It's this Saturday. Right now, as I'm filming, it's morning, Wednesday in Portland, Oregon. But before I'll get into the details about the fight, and I'll do a quick Q&A and answer some of your questions which you might be interested to ask about the fight and the training. I want to quickly introduce you to a seminar I'm going to do in UK, next to Leeds, Bradford. So the seminar is going to be this month. It's less than a month, Saturday 27th and Sunday 28th of April. I will be teaching a short bit in it. I won't be like the main instructor. I'll be teaching the one part in Aikido which I still feel is valuable, and that's Okemi, the way to safely fall and stand up. But there's also going to be, I think, at least six more really good instructors, and it's going to be a whole mix. There's going to be HEMA, which is historical European fencing. There's going to be, they actually do real sparring with armor and weapons, which is awesome. There's going to be catch wrestling. There's going to be Wing Chun. There's going to be just a lot of nice stuff. So if you're interested, check the website beyondthebounds.co.uk. And yeah, you're gonna find all the information. Also, one more cool thing is there's gonna be free mats at the same time simultaneously. So if you don't want to learn Aikido, which sucks from me, at the same time you can go and do some saber sparring or Wing Chun. So it's really awesome. If you're in the area, if you're in UK, for sure come down. I'll be open to talk to you and be happy to meet you as well. There's gonna be like a communal dinner, and it's gonna be awesome. So for sure, check the website beyondthebounds.co.uk. Seminar is in 27th, 28th of April. Aside from that, yeah, let's get down to the fight. So if you guys have any questions, post them on right now. I will answer them as best as I can. But to give you a quick summary of what happened, so first of all, I've been training for 6 months in SBG Portland, Oregon. It's been awesome. It's a program called Wim to Warrior, which is kind of world famous. It's all over the world. Many gyms are participating in it, and I'm participating in one which is here in Portland. It's a 22-week commitment, which is basically 6 months of training 5 days per week at 5:30 a.m. at least here. Our training session is an hour and a half, and then I would personally stay for an extra session. So I trained a lot, and I did my best, and I feel I definitely improved a lot. And right now, my fight is the Wim to Warrior. Eventually, it ends with a full-on amateur fight. So I finally reached my point this Saturday in the state of Montana, town Kalispell. I will be participating fight night, fighting against another Wim to Warrior participant from the other gym in Montana. So it's gonna be awesome. Before I continue talking further, let me see the comments. Um, so the first question I got: how do you use yoga to improve athleticism for martial arts? Hickson used gymnastica natural, and GSP used gymnastics. So again, I'm not an expert of this. I mean, I was a professional yoga instructor, but I don't. But that wasn't like my main field, so I don't look up highly to that myself. I'm kind of I'm just learning every bit and piece I can about athleticism and how the science behind athletics, and yoga was mainly for me. Yoga was about stretching, also breathing exercise. I feel yoga definitely helped me with my breathing capacity with the pranayama, with various breathing exercises. I can't exactly say if it's like that's the main reason my cardio is better than worse, but I do have that sense of it. It really, my lung capacity is really huge. I can inhale like for a minute and exhale for like two without struggling. Also, I had quite a few injuries from my teens when I used to try to train like Son Goku from Dragon Ball Z, like putting on extra weights and just like doing crazy, stupid stuff, training too much and not in smart ways, overloading my body. So I injured my knee, I injured my back, and I didn't stretch that much. So when I started doing yoga, that really brought me back into balance. That really Fixed up my back, fixed up my knee. I had a shoulder injury that's way better than it would be without yoga. So yoga kind of saved my butt. Uh, and I do definitely feel that helps. And let's say when I'm fighting, if there's tension somewhere, let's say if there's tension in the shoulder gets tired quicker. It's harder to keep your hand up. The punches become slower, or it's just like any injury prevents you from good athleticism. And if yoga can help you balance that out, I think it's awesome. So that's how it helped me, basically breathing exercises and stretching. But it's difficult to say exactly uh, what else because again I don't know the science behind yoga that much. I was more of a kind of practitioner than scientist of yoga. What's next? Do you use any karate in MMA fights? Well, first of all, I barely trained karate. I just had like a few different sessions, some sparring with karate guys. So I don't have the skill set of karate. So of course, I can't use karate in MMA. At least personally, I know that in UFC there's some guys who use apparently karate. Machida, I think, is one of the famous ones. And but again, I don't know that much about UFC either. But if you would ask me if I use Aikido, I would say today that I use my footwork a little bit. Not like exactly like, oh my god, Aikido made my footwork so much better for MMA. Not necessarily, but I do feel it translated to some degree, which is awesome. Especially like cutting quarters, quarter turning, which I think is an awesome skill in MMA fighting. So yeah, footwork. I think Aikido helped me with that, and just like mainly the body awareness, picking up skills, picking up new techniques that my coaches give to me. I think training Aikido for more than a decade developed that skill of being able to see and replicate and understand the dynamics of the movement. So that's really useful as a student. And also just yeah, just body awareness, distance, feeling the distance. I feel Aikido definitely helped me with that. I mean, I used to do sword work where you have to feel the distance, and Aikido was a lot about feeling the distance. Although it was dynamic but not necessarily alive, still I feel it gave me that sense of feeling the distance, which I feel is very important in MMA. So, but in terms of like specific techniques, using some specific techniques, as some of you might know, in Jiu-Jitsu, I apply sometimes like a wrist lock here and there, but I don't rely much on it. I think that may come later when I will get my fundamentals down better. But using Aikido, otherwise, specific techniques don't come up, at least for me. So, let's see what's next. Oh, bunch of comments already. I'm just trying to scroll down to not miss any. Uh, there's some good luck wishes. Thank you. Best tips on injury prevention training every day. Again, not an expert. I feel it's so important. I've been there. It's a quick, funny story. I've been there where I try to be the knower of all, and since I was the sensei in Aikido, that would kind of give people the sense that I know everything, and I would know a little bit more than they do. But if you really want to know specific knowledge, you have to go to the experts, to the ones who really know their stuff, who really know the science behind it. So all I can say is my personal opinion, personal experience. Don't take it for too much. I'll just say what I do, and then hopefully that helps you. But seek out experts. That's my best advice. Personally, I try to make sure I take a lot of rest. Recently, I listened to a podcast about sleep. That if you sleep less than 8 hours, then your injury rate becomes 60% higher, which is huge. So personally, I did feel that because your concentration goes slower, goes down, and your physical body is not as capable. I mean, it doesn't recover as much. So basically, I kind of intuitively felt that. So I would try to make sure I sleep as much as I can. I would take supplements, stuff, anti-inflammatory stuff. So like natural ones like turmeric, green tea pills, and fish oil. So I would get those. I feel that they would help, and also just rolling light, not going batshit crazy all the time, and I think that helps too. Just being smart, not overdoing it, stopping where you feel you reach your limit. At least that helped me. I barely injured myself during these 6 months, but also that's because the gym is so awesome and they really make sure we train smart. But all these things, I think they're not everything you should think about. There's I'm sure more stuff, but those are the things that I think about, and they help me. So, how long have you been training BJJ? Now BJJ, I'd say like a year and a half in total. I mean, if you sum up my training, I trained with breaks in between, but I think like a year and a half. But 6 past months of these were like training, a lot. Although I was focusing more on MMA, but still. Who's the person you look up to for MMA, if any? That's a good question. So I'm still digging into the world of UFC. I focus so much on my training and personal development that I don't spend much time just like binge watching UFC fights. Sometimes I watch like the analysis of it to understand better how it works, to pick up some techniques. But I'm not like a fan guy, fanboy who's just like knows all the fighters and everything. Aside that though, if we would be talking about UFC, then I think your answer is actually more broad than that. But if I'm looking at UFC right now, the fighter that I'm investigating is Max Holloway. I like his approach a lot in terms of really feeling the distance, staying out of reach, sometimes going in, not being afraid to stay in the pocket, being creative, and relying, just having such good precision in his strikes, and really making sure they connect and not wasting them, not throwing random shots. Like there's a lot of things I like about Max Holloway. So right now, I'm investigating him. In terms of coaches, right now I'm very fond of John Kavanagh, the coach of Conor McGregor, who I recently met, and I asked him a couple of questions, and I just liked his answer so much. I'm really looking forward to get to know him better. He's also in the same tribe of SBG, so there's a fairly big chance that I will get to see him sometimes. So yeah, I like his approach a lot, and also Matt Thornton for sure. We talk mainly with Matt Thornton about BJJ rather than MMA, but just I have to put it out there. He's definitely one of my inspirational figures these days. So Matt Thornton, founder of SBG International, who's actually the coach of John Kavanagh too. So uh, shoot, those comments. The YouTube thing doesn't let me stay at the last comment I was. It drops me down, so I keep having to scroll up. Anyway, we want to see you and Icy Mike fight over that video he made clowning you. Yeah, maybe not everybody knows what the talk is about. I know for sure. So, to give a heads up to everyone, there's a YouTube channel, hard to knock. Sorry, Mikey. I'm not just woke up. You'll find it though. Hard to hurt, I think. So with number two, and he made a kind of comedical video, which was making fun basically of me and Lenny Sly. I heard a lot of people say it's a super funny video. A lot of people laughed out loud. So I respect that. I mean, I didn't have too many bad feelings about it. Although I wasn't happy that that video portrayed only the initial stage of my development. It looked only at me training Aikido and dropping Aikido. It didn't address the fact that I'm like training full time MMA now, going to my amateur fight. And it was kind of a little bit painful in the sense that that experience was not an easy experience for me. Closing the dojo, losing faith in the martial art that I trained for a decade, and when you see someone making fun of it, I could appreciate the humor, but at the same time, I was like, that's a sensitive subject to me. It's difficult to laugh for me from that. But a lot of people said it's super funny. Everybody loved it, and not like in a way where look, you're such a clown, Rokas, but they just loved the way it was made. So I appreciate it. I know Icy Mike, he I know he has good feelings about me too. So no hard feelings, no necessity to fight. Next comment. Cool to hear you have a fight, but hope you don't completely abandon all philosophies of traditional martial arts, as they can be crucial no matter the style, even practical bits of traditional martial arts. Sure, I mean it's a huge subject, and I don't necessarily want to go down that rabbit hole right now. But for sure, I'm not like a meathead fighter. I always think about respect. Always think about discipline, and I'm sure that there's a bunch of things philosophically that are still ingrained for me since my traditional martial arts days. What video drifter I want to see? Okay. So the mocking video. Type in Rokas versus Lenny Sly, and you'll see that video. It's a funny video. You should watch it. Oh yeah, there you go. Rifter wrote the same one. Uh, Next comment. Are you more confident in your grappling or striking? For sure. Yeah, for sure. I feel way more confident. I love both grappling and striking, and I feel a lot of improvement ever since I came here. So yeah, there's definitely much more confidence. Where can we watch your fight? Sorry, just joining. Oh, no problem about just joining, Saeed AG. Where can you watch the fight? I will publish it hopefully at Monday by the latest. I'm fighting on Saturday. I'll try to upload it on Sunday, but probably I'll just I might be beat after the and tired after the fight, so I might take a day off. I also still have like a 10 hour ride back home in a car. So Monday, there's like a 99% chance that Monday I will release it on my YouTube channel, so you guys will see how it all went down. Otherwise, it's you have to come down to the stage and see it. Okay, I'm trying to get back up. Okay, just discover your channel, great content. Your attitude is awesome. Thank you very much. Can you briefly assess how physically and technically are you prepared for the fight? I don't want to talk too much about that because my opponent's coach might be watching this video, and I don't want to give out too much information. But I feel good. I feel ready. I think that's hopefully a good enough answer. Um, Next comment. Uh, do you think taking a rest before lessons is okay? I sometimes feel too stiff after taking a rest. Again, not an expert. Very important disclaimer. Uh, but personally, I make sure I take my rests. When I take a good rest, I feel I train much better. And also, as I said, I just listened to the podcast of this neuroscientist talk about sleep and the importance of sleep and all the data behind it. And I personally feel like if I get a good nap, that increases my training. And yes, you do need to. It takes time to kind of wake up and get back into it. But also, if you feel stiff, maybe you need to do some foam rolling, or maybe you need to do some stretching. Training is not just training. One of the biggest things I learned while I was here, especially in the first couple of months, is hard training should equal hard rest, and I would add hard recovery. So if you're training hard, you're stiff. Training is not just about punching and kicking. Training is also about doing foam rolling and doing stretching. I don't know, this it's not as badass, but we have to do it. Otherwise, that's what happens. So I would personally think about that. But again, check with better sources. Uh, Next question: do you see Aikido as useful in a fight after your experience in MMA? No, not necessarily. I mean, I think I humbled down a little bit, and I backed off a little bit from too much aggression towards Aikido. For a while, I was very negative about it. I think I was just like very upset and tired of all the Aikidoka bashing and kind of shit talking about me, and just like, yeah, it was a whole dark period. But now, as things are getting lighter, and I'm looking back at it, I think it's like there's a possibility that Aikido could work in some scenarios. I mean, it's not like entirely impossible, but is it the most effective system? Is it very effective? I have very, very high doubts about it. I would say no. But there's a percentage of chance that it may help you in a self defense situation. But I think if you want self defense, you're better off mastering a different practice. There's yeah, Aikido. I don't think is the go to place for that. Mhm. Where can we see your fight? Again, the same question. I will publish it on my channel on Monday. Or otherwise, it's Montana Kalispell, state of Montana in the States. I don't know if somebody will do a live stream, maybe, but I want to be focused on the fight. I don't want to be thinking, oh, is there the live stream is going, So, yeah, I'm going to be focused on the fight. And so, in live streaming, I'm not taking that responsibility on myself. Can't wait to see your fight. You have any specific techniques you're looking forward to using? Also, is your wife going to be there? So starting with my wife, unfortunately, no. But my brother will be there, and just like an accident, we weren't planning that he will come for the fight, but that's how it goes down. So it's going to be nice to have at least one family member rooting and shouting for me. Specific techniques, I'd love to answer that, but again, there's always the um, the danger that the opponent's coach is watching this video, so I have to be careful, and I don't want to give out too much details. Sorry, I will talk about that for sure after the fight when I do a recap. Heart to Hurt is here. Wow, I showed up at the right time. Oh, I guess I seem like you mean because people are talking about your video. I guess so. Uh, or you just came to my live stream, which is awesome. Good to see you here. Zeus Cronida. Hi, just joined. Plus, I'm a little out of date. Are you still giving Aikido lessons? So as most of my viewers know, no, I'm not teaching Aikido anymore. I closed down my dojo. I gave up teaching Aikido. I gave up training Aikido, and I did entertain the thought that maybe after I train MMA for a while, that maybe I will have some sense of wanting to drop into Aikido again, at least a little bit, see if I can salvage something there or kind of modify it. But honestly, and I'll probably make a video about that sooner or later. But honestly, I don't feel like coming back anymore. Actually, one video I made was more or less talking about that. So the video, I mean, the whole idea about me training Aikido or teaching Aikido. I mean, there's a seminar that I just addressed in the beginning of this live stream that I'm gonna teach in the seminar, like Aikido Kemi, safe folding and rolling. So I do like that part, and I mean I'm not against teaching that, but otherwise I definitely feel like I drifted away from Aikido. The more I train MMA, the more I train Jiu-Jitsu striking, the less see myself still wearing the gi and teaching Aikido. It's just I think I passed that stage, and I don't necessarily feel a drive to get myself back in there. So yeah, I don't teach Aikido anymore. I don't train Aikido anymore, and right now it's very likely that I will not do that at least anytime soon anymore. Um, Hard to Hurt says sequels in the work is in the work. Yeah, please show me the sequel. I'm looking forward. You mentioned it's gonna be like darker, and I'm a huge Batman fan, and Christopher Nolan made him darker. I mean, Frank Miller made him darker in The Dark Knight Returns. I want to see a dark version of Rokas. Hit me. uh, okay, Rokas Rising, Vesely Presley, sure. Rokas Returns, whatever. Heart to Hurt says, and the guys, those of you who just jumped in to give you a feeling of what we're talking about, Heart to Hurt, a channel that you should check, a YouTube channel about like martial arts, mixed martial arts, and more. He made a video, like kind of a comedical video about me and another Aikidoka. It's very funny. Watch it. It's like Rokas versus Lenny Sly, and we're talking about that. The original, and Heart to Her, the maker of that video, says the original draft was darker and meaner. You will rise in the gritty sequel. I appreciate that. I mean, yeah, it would be nice to get to cut some slack, but it's your thing, it's your channel. Yeah, I appreciate that you didn't made it too dark. That's not a bad title, sure. Somebody just watched that video. It's funny. It's very funny. Uh, what weight am I fighting at? The next question. T1 up asked this. So I'm fighting at 185. Generally, I am. My weight is around 191. I mean, I gained some muscle mass while I was training here, and initially I was trying to maintain it. So I was trying to gain some, but last month I was starting to take it easy on building muscle, more focusing on cardio. So weight cutting is not going to be a problem. I'm just keeping it at kind of 188, 187, and in the morning it's like 185 already. So basically I will not have to cut any weight at all, which is awesome. I did a few bad weight cuts for jiu-jitsu tournaments, and I hated it. It sucked. Obviously you need to do it smart, but yeah, I'm happy I won't have to cut weight. I just need to maintain it at the same place. So right now I'm just not eating salt, what George Lockhart, who was incredible to me, suggested to me, and also just cutting down a little bit of the carbs. So I should be fine. Somebody says, "Oh no, your long hair is gone." So that's an interesting comment. I'll quickly talk about. I am happy with my short hair. Initially, I cut it for, it's a bit of a mess, but initially I cut it for MMA for the fight, so it wouldn't get into my face. But also, I wanted change. I wanted to address the fact that okay, I'm moving on. I'm in the next stage, and there was a little bit of an emotional sense of oh, I'm losing my long hair. And initially, the first few days, I didn't necessarily like the way I look, but then I started liking it, and I'm like, you know what, this is the new me. I like it, and so some people are sad about me losing my long hair, but I'm actually very happy about having short hair. I think it's a representation of me being in my new stage, and yeah, I'm not sure if I'll go back to long hair anytime soon. So sorry about that. Heart to Heart says, "You look very strong and confident. I think if you listen to your coaches during the fight, you will do well." Thank you. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate the words. And also, yeah, I'll do my best to listen to the coaches. That's great advice. Thank you for that. Uh, if I remember correctly, you have been training MMA wise for 6-ish month right now. Great improvement, by the way. Thank you. Actually, it's already been about 6 months. I came down here at end of or beginning of October. Yeah, I think it was beginning of October. So basically November, December, January, February, March, April. Yeah, that's 6 months. I've been training 6 months non-stop, 6 days per week. To question. Oh yeah, yeah. Thank you for the compliment. To question. What do you know about your opponent? So I don't know much, and I didn't necessarily want to know. I know he's about my height, maybe a little bit shorter. He also weighs 191, which I weighed before I started cutting weight. Uh, Otherwise, he's 35. He's 35 years old, and he's also a participant of the Winter Warrior program in Montana, where they started earlier than I did. Maybe he was training more for the longer for the Winter Warrior, but that's all I know. And I'm not checking his photo. I'm not checking his Facebook profile. I'm not investigating him because I choose to take on the philosophy of what people call around here the faceless opponent. I know what I'm gonna do. You know, I know my strategy. I know the main responses to the main situations, and I feel that's all I need to know. I don't want to be too focused on the opponent and not to get into that rabbit hole of, oh, what is he gonna do? What about this? What about that? What if he does something, unusual, something surprising? And I mean, he's a beginner as I am. He may do some crazy stuff just randomly, and so I don't want to get stuck to thinking about him. Rather, I'm focusing on my training, on my strategy, on my skill set, and just being at the best shape I can be for that day. Yeah, so I don't focus on the opponent that much, and the information that I given to you is what I have. It has been 6 months. Yes, you got this, lad. Thank you. Have you heard about Karate Kyokushin? Again, I won't go too deep into that. I was a fan of Karate Kyokushin, although I trained very little of it. But I know a lot about that. Damn, it's been a while since I spoke about this. Masoyama, Mostatsoyama, the founder of Kyokushin. I used to adore him because he was training in the woods for like 6 months at least, and maybe a year, and he was very powerful. I used to like his story, his narrative. So I know, and I know the main concepts of Karate Kyokushin. Um, Somebody says they love Heart Heart recent videos. I think I saw them, some of them as well. They look great. Uh, hey, thanks for your vids. Are you afraid of injuries during training and possibly during the fight? During training, I'm not afraid. I'm not like, oh my god, no. But I do my best not to get injured because it would decrease the quality of my ability to fight. So yeah, I mean, I'm doing my best to prevent injuries. During the fight, I don't know. I'm just like I'm fully immersed in the fight. Like I wake up thinking about the fight. I go to sleep thinking about the fight. All the day I'm thinking about the fight. I'm thinking about what I can do and how I can do best. And I'm just like always there. I'm kind of getting into the state, into the zone of being ready for it. So having being in that mindset all the time, injuries are not what I'm concerned about. Even if I get injured, it's like screw that. I'm there to win. I'm there to kick ass, to do the best I can, to give my 120%, 200%. And injuries, it's just like that's not part of the game. It's like if that happens, whatever, I will not. My next fight won't be there for at least a few months. I'll recover. I'll survive. Obviously, I don't want to, get my eye poked out or something, but I'm not thinking about that. My goal is to fight a good fight. My goal is to win, and yeah, injuries is not part of the deal. It's like if it happens, whatever. I will fight through it. I will ignore it. You know, this is an important moment in my life. So, and you guys are all following me, and I feel I owe you a win. So if an injury comes down the path, it's like forget about it, push through it, think about it later. That's kind of my idea, my approach. Wesley Raspberry says, "Awesome, glad to have your family." Oh yeah, I got you. Afterwards, I can't wait. Keep up your journey. Thank you. Water Monsters asks a good question. So, do you want to become a professional MMA fighter? I'll be honest with you, that is on my mind. That is not my main goal. That's not like my focus, and not a full on decision that I made. I'm kind of an all in guy. It's like I'm either 100% in or I'm 100% out. So if I will make that decision to become a professional MMA fighter, I will, I will go full in, and you will know about that, and my whole life will become all about that. So as soon as I make that decision, that'll be it. So I have not made that decision yet, but I am contemplating about it. A lot depends on how well I'll do in this fight. Maybe you don't know. I'm really. I feel ready. I definitely have the mindset of going in there. I just can't wait. I feel like a child waiting for his Christmas gift. I'm just like, "Oh, let it come faster." So I have that, but still, I have to see how well I'll do, how things will go, how it will feel during the fight, how it will feel after. So that's a lot dependent on that. Also, I mean, I'm 29 years old, which is I kind of consider that's like I thought it's too old to start a professional MMA career. But at the same time, I was talking to George Lockhart, awesome guy by the way, who's like the leading nutritionist for world class MMA fighters, including Conor McGregor. And I told him that I'm concerned that I'm too old, and he said, "Don't worry about that." He's like apparently Randy Couture, who actually started his career in SBG Portland as well. He started training at 32, and I don't know, maybe back in the day it was like just the beginning of UFC, and so maybe the scene was different, but still, some people, as soon as I talk to people about that, a lot of people tell me that apparently, there are people who start later. So I'm contemplating about it. I still need some to reassure if if I don't want to do it in a sucky way. I don't want to be like half good. If I'm gonna do it, I want to make sure I can do really well, and that's my main concern. If I will gain the confidence that I can do it really well, there's a pretty big chance that I will try to get into at least a few professional fights. Not like as my main profession, not as my main life goal, but to experience professional fighting, that would be awesome. I think that could definitely get into my bucket list. So we will see. uh, Somebody says the short hair suits you. Thank you. Uh, the question is, what BJJ belt are you at? Also, are you going to continue training Jiu-Jitsu? For sure, I will continue training Jiu-Jitsu. I love Jiu-Jitsu, but I love stand up as well. I love both of them. MMA just suits me. I love it. But Jiu-Jitsu, I definitely will continue training. Maybe even a bit more than now. Right now, I focus so much on the whole package of MMA that Jiu-Jitsu was only like part of my training, maybe 20, 40%. And then when I'm planning to come back to Portland later after the fight, after a few months break, I'm thinking about going to more jiu-jitsu classes as I will have my own schedule. That's a long story. I'll tell you about it later. But yeah, I will definitely continue training jiu-jitsu. What belt am I? I call myself a proud white belt. I still wear the white flag. But there's a couple of interesting moments there because first of all, some of the gym members call me the trap white belt. And I was in SBG camp recently, and I was rolling with some guys like blue belts, purple belts, and at the end they were like, "You're no white belt." That's like That's specifically what they said. Uh, I think I am. I don't say I know. Actually, my basics. I don't know some of the basics still, because my training was always so kind of random. So there's some basic techniques which a white belt should know that I don't know. But I think my ability to roll is improving, and I make I stand up for a good fight and a good roll, and so apparently blue belts and purple belts, they don't consider me to be a legit white belt anymore, which I guess it's nice to hear. So who knows, maybe I'm getting closer to my blue belt, but then again, I'm a proud white belt. I mean, it's and a quick also interesting moment to say, I've been a black belt in Aikido for pretty much a decade right now, like just being already a black belt, and I was like a third degree black belt, and I suck. Like jiu-jitsu blue belt could have just killed me on the spot. Same with like a boxer, wrestler, whatever. So that really gave me the sense of understanding that it's not about belts, and I was focusing on belts already in the past. I don't want to focus on belts anymore. I'm all about just becoming better, and the belts, I'm sure they'll come by themselves. I don't need to worry about that. So I'm like, I don't mind wearing my white belt forever. I mean, that doesn't decrease my skill or whatever. So we'll see. How many hours a day do you train? How many days a week? So I train. I try to train 6 days per week. I take Sunday off. Then I train per day. I train about 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours per day. I think I could train more if I would get more sleep, but the training program is at 5:30 a.m. So my sleep schedule gets messed up because I'm a night owl. I'm not a morning person, so that makes my body suffer. But yeah, I train at 3 4 hours per day, 6 days per week. Suggestion: a video from Vinicio Antoni, Lyoto Machida coach, about walking in ring octagon. He talks about Jose Aldo's steps and the T stance problems. Well, good luck and sorry my bad English. I mean, sure, I'll try to digest that information, keep it in mind. Thank you for answering questions. My pleasure. He'll probably get his blue belt if he wins this fight. Who knows? I mean, again, it's not about the belts. Although, I don't know, it's just weird thinking about myself as a blue belt. I just got so used to wearing a white belt that the day if I'll get my blue belt one day, I'll be like, I'm a blue belt? Me? I never thought I will be. So it's kind of funny. Uh, no, do you enjoy striking or grappling more in your training? That is a good question. I love both. I mean, I did more grappling before, so I think I love a challenge. I love to be challenged, and right now I'm not as good in. I know grappling more than striking. I'm less comfortable in striking than in grappling, so that's why right now I enjoy striking more. I enjoy it because I want to figure out that puzzle. I want to overcome that challenge. So I think right now I'm enjoying striking more for the reason of overturning an obstacle. So yeah, I think. But they're really close to each other. I love them both. Uh, so the question is, what do you think of Dewey versus Wong super fight? So yeah, I've been following this whole storyline narrative. For those of you who do not know, Ramsey Dewey is a pretty big YouTube channel right now. It's ever growing. He's an MMA coach, and Vong is like an incredibly big channel. Has over 1 million subscribers, if not 2 million now. And one of them is an MMA guy, and the other one is a traditional martial arts guy. I am not fond of Wong. I don't like the way he responded to Ramsey Dewey's video. Just Wong, and also Wong does not seem realistic to me as well. I think he's overconfident and he's not respectful. There's a lot of things I'm like, Wong is not my cup of tea. And I respect Ramsey a lot. And yeah, there's this whole idea of them fighting together. Ramsey's kind of more pushing it because Wong made some comment that he would fight him somewhere, but I don't know if there's been any official statement about it. I don't think so. So I'd love for them to get down to the ring, and I would bet my money on Ramsey Dewey. I think that's what could be said. Vong, I'd love him to face some reality. I'd love him to get a full-on sparring session, even if like no holds barred. What the Gracies did successfully, and they kicked ass. So I don't think Wong would do so well even with no holds barred. Uh, but but yeah, I'd love for that to happen just make sure Vong gets a sense of reality, or maybe prove us wrong. You know, until that's done, it's like it's all just talk. So I'd love for that to happen, although I don't think it will. Are you looking for a quick knockout, or are you more of a slow and steady kind of fighter? Again, I'm sorry I cannot answer this question. There is a chance that my opponent's coach is watching this video and looking for hints. There's a whole reason why. I don't know if I can tell. Maybe I'll tell later. Anyway, intrigues. But I can definitely answer that. But I will make sure to answer that after the fight. But now I don't want to give out information, so I wouldn't. Or I could lie, but I don't lie. I actually thought about making a video about that. I don't lie. I haven't lied for the last like 20 years. It's a hard life not to lie, guys. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie here. So I will not tell you right now. I'm sorry for that. It's for the sake of winning. Uh, looking for questions. Well, somebody wrote a heartfelt comment. Somebody wrote, I went through a similar stage when I quit the karate kempo style and got to the competitive world karate federation. I can really relate to your situation. Being disenchanted is rough. Thanks. I feel you. All right. Any more questions? Oh, a lot of support. Thank you very much. Is your fight gonna be streamed anywhere? It might be streamed, but I cannot promise that. I will not personally take responsibility for it because I will want to be only focused on the fight. I don't want to be thinking about live stream or anything. So I will make sure some people film me, and I will release my video on Monday. But about live streaming, I'm sure some people will live stream it, but I'm not sure how to get to it. So sorry about that. Another comment. Also, I have been a fan of you when I first started Aikido 2 years ago, and you going into your MMA journey inspired me to try full contact sports as well. So I went into Kyokushin, and soon will go to MMA. Congratulations, man! I'm happy to hear that. Question. I have been having similar doubts about my age and having some pro kickboxing fight. I think just want the experience and not career. Is that also your motivation? I just talked about that, so maybe you jumped in a bit later. Or maybe not. Maybe it's a continuation. Anyway, so initially it was my idea was bucket list. I'm quite about the bucket list. I have a huge bucket list, and I ticked off a lot of stuff there, and I keep ticking it off. And one of my bucket list sections was to have an MMA fight, like an amateur MMA fight. And that was my initial idea to just get the experience. But since I got into it, I love it so much. I just really have a blast doing this, and I would definitely right now I definitely feel that I would want more amateur fights. I'd like to have at least a few, especially against more experienced opponents, and to get that challenge. So initially, yeah, my idea was just to experience a single fight, which I think is an awesome idea. You should definitely do that, and I think to do this as a one-time thing, to experience this, to give yourself the challenge is definitely enough. Unless you're crazy, like right now, I feel like crazy myself in a good way, but it's crazy to step into a ring with people who want to literally hurt you, and you have to hurt them. It's crazy, but if you love it, there must be something about it. So if you really love it, you can do more. But I think it's to give yourself that challenge to take off the bucket list. I think definitely it's worth doing that. And about career, I don't care about the career. I don't care about making a name for myself in the MMA world or whatever. I love sharing this journey. I love it. Really means a lot to me when I hear people saying that they are inspired by some of the things I do. It's just like it means a lot to me. So I do want to share this journey with you. Giving a good fight, winning for you guys is part of the game for me, part of the deal. It is important to me, but like a career, like money wise or something, that's not interesting to me. That's not about. I'm not about that. What stand-up martial art would you recommend to complement my jujitsu? I don't know. Again, not an expert here, but my first guess would be boxing. I think from what I hear, from what I experience, boxing is the best striking game out there. So or maybe, maybe kickboxing or Muay Thai. Again, probably good to ask some better coach than I am. I'm not a coach. Hey, Mofsin Lala, good to see you. You caught my live stream? Yes. Oh, and he says Muay Thai because the clinch we takedowns. There you go. That's your answer. White belt till death, baby. Thanks. Latest stream. Have you already talked about who you will be fighting? Yes, I did. So I'll just talk. I'll just do a quick recap. So I'll be fighting a Wim to Warrior participant, the same program that I do of training 6 months from zero to hero, 5 days per week in the morning. He's 35 years old, similar height, similar weight. Uh, that's all I know about him. That's all I care about him. I mean, I don't care about him. I am gonna be there to kick ass, to fight, and to beat the hell out of the other opponent, whoever that is. So turns out to be him. Fine, but I'm not focused on the opponent. I'm not like trying to pick up details about him. But that's it. That's the information I have. Mohsin La says, I've been in martial arts for nearly a decade and I've never gone beyond white. Yeah, proud white belts. We should make a club. Book of Five Rings, Rokas. That's a question. I read that. It's a book written by Miyoto Musashi, who I was fond of in my teens. He was like a famous figure, guy who mastered the way of two swords in Japan. I've been through all that path of collecting that information. I heard that there's a lot of rumors about him. Not everything is true, but he was a person, reality person. He did win a lot of fights. But then and he wrote this book, and I read it a long time ago. Maybe I should read it again. But I think it's a nice book. It's a legendary book. So, but I have to read it again to make a good comment about it. Somebody says, Drifter says, back in the day, you never knew anything about your opponent, just showed up and fought whoever they told you to. So that's, yeah, for sure, that's true. And also, one more thing I heard is that, especially in amateur fights, so many times the opponent backs out. So many times the opponent changes. And I was in conversation with John Kavanagh, the coach of Conor McGregor, and he was speaking about the same thing, that even in professional fights, sometimes you get your opponent drops out and you get a change of opponent a few days before the fight. And if you trained, if you, let's say your initial opponent is super good at kicks and you trained all about kicks, and then suddenly he changes and the other guy is a wrestler, you're kind of in a screwy situation. So it makes sense to not focus too much on the opponent. To be whole rounded, and unless it's like super high pro level. But from what I hear, from what I pick up, amateur fights, people drop out too often. So it does make sense to focus too much on the opponent. It's his first fight, guys. He doesn't know shit. Of course, I mean, I don't know shit. Mohsin Lala, you're right. But I mean, I'm picking up information. I'm doing my best to answer what I can. I'm sharing what I collected. Uh, Seeing if there's any more questions. Just stay aggressive, calculated aggression. Be the one who pushes the pace. Thanks. Sounds like good advice. Where's the fight? The fight is in Kalispell, town of Kalispell, in the state of Montana, United States. If you write down something in Google like that, I'm sure you'll find the fight. If you can come down, make sure to say hi. Before the fight, obviously, I'll be in the zone. But after the fight, I'll be happy to hang out and stuff. So cool. Pre-fight preps plans: light pad work, meditation, jerk off sessions, calisthenics, lots of sleep. I'm making sure I get a lot of sleep. I just went through information about how sleep makes a huge difference. Before the fight and in the warm up room, yes, pad work to get some sweat going. Meditation, focusing, but not getting too sleepy during the fight. Making sure I go to bed early. Uh, Having a clear head, not getting too emotional. Staying calm, focusing on doing some meditation in the sense of just being in the moment and letting myself get a good night's sleep. Filling myself up with some good food, good nutrition to make sure I'm at the top peak of my game. So all of that for sure. Uh, got any previous experience with boxing? No. Actually, I never did boxing before. This is the first time I'm getting into boxing, and I love it. Uh, what do you think about training martial arts by oneself? So it's a tough question, but I'm skeptical about that. I keep hearing many people saying that it's not the way to go. I think it's dangerous to do that. I don't know. I'm not an expert again in this field. I can't say a great answer, but I would be cautious about that. Maybe it's better than nothing, but I saw some cases where people would teach themselves bad habits. I think you need a coach. So just and there's always a way to find a coach sooner or later. So maybe maybe not now, maybe in a few months, but I think it's important to, as somebody says, join the gym. uh, la, 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 la. I'm seeking for questions. We have 10 more minutes, by the way. If you have some pressing question, make sure to answer, and we'll be finishing this live stream in 10 minutes. Looking again for comments, I mean, questions. Somebody says Western boxing and Greco-Roman wrestling is a killer combo. That's kind of my sense as well. Have you got a game plan for the fight? The answer is yes, I do. Yes, I do. But as I those who are here at the stream from the beginning, I keep saying that unfortunately, I do not want to give out information about my game plan because there's always a chance that the opponent's coach is watching this and he wants to get some details. I do not want to risk that, so I will not speak about my game plan. I will talk about my game plan after the fight. But yes, the answer is yes, I do, and for sure. I mean, it's like a half-half. I have like 70%. I have a game plan, but also 30%. I give myself the understanding that stuff can happen. You never know exactly what's gonna happen, so I'm ready to change and adapt. Somebody says that I should read Jack Dempsey's Bible on boxing. I actually should. That would be interesting. If fight goes to the ground, be the guy on top. Ground and pound. Sounds good. I will. Break the leg. Sounds good. Who would win a fight? You or hard to hurt? I would say hard to hurt. I'm like 98% sure. Because first of all, it's a lot about experience. It's a lot about how long you train, how much you know. And I'm still a newbie, and it seems like hard to hurt. He trained way more than I did, so probably he would kick my ass. Also, the question is if it's a sanctioned fight. I mean, if it's like a competition fight, then he would for sure beat my ass. If it's a real fight, there's a lot of unknown equation stuff. I mean, maybe there's a bottle, maybe there's a piece of glass, or maybe there's a table, a chair that I could use, or I would use everything to my advantage. It would be a life and death situation, and nobody teaches you how to defend against a chair or very few systems. So that would be a different question. It would be just lots of unknown variables, but in a sanctioned fight, I'm sure he would beat my ass. What does the fox say? Check the video. Check the video clip. How old are you, sir? I am 29 years old. I'm 29 and a half. In August, I turned 30. Oh my gosh, I'm turning 30. Does your wife know? What's her take on this? She's super supportive. She does know, and she would love to be here for my fight, but she can't make it. So, but yeah, she's very supportive. If she wasn't supportive about me coming here, I wouldn't probably be here. So yeah, she's with me. Uh, and seeing if there's any more questions. Are you going to stick to one main fight style? Um, Again, a question I don't want to answer to not give out information to my opponent. But general, I mean, I think I can say this one that not necessarily. I do think being whole rounded is a good approach. Are you finally comfortable with being hit? Oh, for sure. But the comment continues. I remember being surprised by how hesitant you were about being hit in your first videos. That is absolute truth. That is a good question. That is a good question and great insight. Especially like if you watch my first Aikido versus MMA fight, I was flinching like hell. The thing is, I was never really punched in my face before. And that was a big thing to overcome, but I worked hard on it. That was a challenge when I was training MMA. I had to overcome this, but eventually I did. It's a bit weird, and I feel a little bit bad saying that, but I love getting punched in the face these days. Obviously, not like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I want to get punched in the octagon. But if I'm like doing sparring and I get a good punch, I'm like, oh, that was nice, dude. Or that just like makes me more focused. I'm like, oh, damn, now I just need to get back to him. Or like, oh, wow, how did he do that? So in a sense, like, I like getting punched in the face these days. But yeah, that was a huge challenge to overcome. Any more questions? Scrolling down to the bottom. How long do you speak English? Oh, I reached the bottom finally. So how long do I speak English? Since like young age, I used to watch Cartoon Network, and that's how I learned my English. Also playing video games. My native tongue is different. It's Lithuanian, and when I played video games, there was no translation, so I had to. If I'm like, I want to beat the game, I have to learn what the heck the guy's talking to me about. What's my mission? And so I would, yeah, I would learn English for that, and I learned English in school. So it's been forever. I'm learning English since I'm like 4 years old or something. Mm-hmm. Why did you cut your hair? It looks. Why did you cut it? It took you so long. Okay. Why did I cut my hair? Initially for the fight, so it wouldn't get into my face. It does make a bother, but also I wanted to represent the change. I feel I changed quite a bit, and it is a new period of my life, and I wanted to symbolize that. And cutting hair is one of the ways to express that symbolism. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's let's finalize this. This is a new stage. Off with the Aikido haircut. Aikido guy turned MMA guy. So it took so long. Yeah, it took a while. I used to like long hair and I used to be fond of it, and that was kind of part of my identity. But on to the new identity. Future training plans? Yes. I am. So actually, this is kind of a not necessarily a secret, but this is like something that is still just building up. But I'll just give a very tiny hint. There's a chance that I will drop by SBG Ireland on my way back to Europe. So maybe do a little bit of training there with John Kauna. That would be awesome. But I don't want to give too much information about that yet. It's still like work in progress. Then in Lithuania, I will go down to the gym that I used to train in to get some rolls in. I'm planning to do hardcore cardio, a lot of cardio, a lot of speed and power work, because I won't have like a awesome coach back there. So I will have to make do. Like I'll be in Lithuania for 2 3 months, so I want to make sure I get as much benefit as I can by training stuff, which I can account for. So yeah, I want to have killer cardio. I want to push myself to the extent of hell. So cardio would not be a problem for me. I want to work on my footwork, so doing a lot of ladder work to have quick feet, strong legs, and yeah, just punching the bag, doing strength and conditioning, so that my punches would get faster, more powerful, so that by the time I come back to the states, and that's the next training plan, in 3 to 4 months, I'm planning to come back to SBG Portland for at least a few more months. I'd love to have another amateur fight and just train like hell again. But I want to have the killer cardio, speed, power, so that by the time my coaches drop in some techniques on me, that I could how do you say this? I could basically do them as best as I can. That my cardio would let me train as hell. Yeah. So future plans are like that. But yeah, come back to the states at least for a few more months, and then we'll see what happens from there. Would you consider being a full time fighter? Yeah, I kind of talked about something like that in this session already. Quick summary of that. Full time fighter, it depends on what we mean by that. I don't think I would want to have like an 10-year career, or something like that. But I am considering about a uh, professional career, at least for a little bit. So being a full time fighter, like just like devoting myself to training all the time, having some amateur fights, moving on to professional fights, and just all the time training for that. If we call that a full time fighter, yes, I'm considering that. It might happen. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what goes. I want to first check. make this check, kind of make this check of how my fight goes, initial fight goes, and then I think I'll make a decision soon enough from there on whether I will become a full time fighter, at least for a year, 2 years, a few years. We'll see, but that's definitely an option and a consideration. What's going on with Lenny? I'll answer this one. So those of you who do not know, Lenny Sly is a famous Aikidoka, in the lineage of Steven Seagal, although they're not buddies. And he makes kind of hardcore Aikido videos, and he's very pro Aikido, and an ex bouncer. Lenny, I don't know. He made the video apparently where he wasn't happy about a video I made where I did some Aikido in the setting of Jiu-Jitsu, and kind of I never published the MMA part. Maybe I will. But I think he wasn't happy about that for some reason. We're buddies. We sometimes call each other. We talk. We support each other and we have each other's backs, and I like the guy. I mean, I think Lenny's awesome. So I don't know exactly what's going on with him or what specifically you're referring to, but we have a good relationship. We have a good connection, and whatever happens in his personal life, I can't say exactly. We're nearing down the end. What do your Aikido students think about your change? I know only half of it. I don't know what's happening in their minds. My old students, I think they're judgmental. They think I'm going astray and I lost my path or whatever. But I haven't been in touch with them, and I kind of let them down already in the past. I present myself as this ideal utopian sensei, and then they learn I'm a human being, so they were upset about that ever since. And I think now they're not supportive of anything I would do unless I would revert back to a perfect human being. My current students, my last generation of students, they were supportive. I think they have a lot of faith in me as an individual, as a personality. I did my best to be honest with them, sincere, and have as much integrity as I could. So I talked to them a lot about what I'm going through and try to explain it to them. And I think they're supportive. I'm not sure if everybody understands what I'm doing or why I'm doing. I think they are hoping for me to come back and do Aikido and teach them, but life goes on, and we'll see what happens. But I think the newest generation is generally they're supportive. Okay, let's do last three questions. How's my BJJ going? It's going really well. I love BJJ. I haven't trained BJJ as much. I haven't trained BJJ as much as I could. I mean, I'm training more MMA, and BJJ is just part of it. I just sometimes drop into an Jiu-Jitsu class, but I improved a lot. And as I said previously in this live stream, some of the blue belts and purple belt that I roll with, I'm still a white belt, but they tell me that I'm not a white belt. They say I'm a trap white belt. So apparently I'm getting better than I was. Um, did you see Lenny's latest videos? If so, what do you think of them? You probably mean the pressure testing ones. So again, if those of you who do not know, Lenny Sly, pro Aikido guy, he did a few pressure testing Aikido videos. I have some thoughts, which some of the parts I'm not necessarily extremely happy about. Uh, I mean, it would be awesome if he would do the exercises himself rather than walk his students through. I think it would be awesome to see him applying those skills. But aside that, I really respect that. I'm happy. I'm very happy Lenny is getting into the world of pressure testing, including some more modern training approaches. So I mean, I respect that. I'm happy about that. And last question. I guess this will be the last. So I'm actually scrolling at the. Oh, there's a whole conversation going here. Okay, I think I caught the last question, and then I'll wrap up. Uh, okay, two questions. I think those are connected, so I'll do those two, and we'll wrap up. Did any Aikido technique work in the octagon? Uh, Not really, not for me. I mean, I didn't press applying them, and they didn't necessarily work. I applied some principles at best, but basically the answer is no. And the last question: what do your former Aikido fellow or senior instructors think of you when they hear your current opinion on it? I do not know. I'm not in contact with my old Aikido instructor whatsoever anymore. I have a feeling they're judgmental. I have a feeling they're not happy about it. I had some glimpses of it, and I think some of my ex training partners think that I'm evil and I'm nuts and I'm mad. And that's part due to the fact that for a while I was very negative about Aikido. I was kind of in a dark mood, in a dark space. Just like, I just got tired of Aikido people not getting the point and kind of bashing and insulting me all the time. So I kind of lashed back on them. And I think that's where people thought that I became some evil dude. And so I think, yeah, my old training partners probably they have no clue, they have no understanding why I'm doing this. One of the reasons I fell out of the organization and I quit the relationship with my former instructor and my training colleagues is because they didn't get it. They did not get it at all. I tried to explain to them, I tried to communicate, and they just could not see what I'm talking about. Zero understanding, and I realized, I can't be surrounded by people who don't understand me whatsoever, don't understand what I'm passionate about. They're not able to relate whatsoever. And there was a kind of a sad moment that when I left the organization, zero people wrote to me. The people that I considered to be my family members, I spent years and years training, living with them, and inviting them to my country, organizing seminars for them. It's just like so much happened. And when I quit the organization, not even one person wrote to me. So that was kind of like, well, I guess it is a cult. Anyway, it's a long story. But yeah, so I think we are down with the questions for today. It was awesome to have you guys. It's really awesome to talk to you. Thanks so much for joining. And quickly, I'll wrap up things in just in a moment. Quickly before I end, I just wanted to announce once more that I'll be in UK in less than a month, 27th, 28th of April. So if you're in UK, come down to next to Leeds, next to Bradford. There's a town called Cayley, I think. Well, go to the website beyondthebounds.co.uk, and I'm going to be teaching a small part of it, a seminar of like I think 6 or 8 instructors, including live sparring with weapons, actual like swords and Wing Chun and catch wrestling. It's going to be an awesome, awesome seminar. I'm going to teach like an Aikido section of safe falling, ukemi, which I think is a valuable part of Aikido. So there's going to be a communal dinner. It's going to be awesome. Let's meet up. Let's talk. It's going to be a blast. So beyondthebounds.co.uk. Check it out. Otherwise, again, thank you so much for all your support. I really, really appreciate uh, you guys being supportive. Gives so much power to me. Like these last couple of weeks, I'm focusing on the fight. I mean, I'm focusing on the fight forever now. I'm waking up with it. I'm going to sleep with it. But knowing that you have my back, I have your support, really makes me feel that I have to win. It's like I'm going in there. I'm not fighting the other guy or him as a person. I'm fighting this challenge that I want to overcome, not only for myself but also for all of you. I have that sense of this is not going to be my win, this is going to be our win. So I'm excited about that. Having you in my back, having my back feels awesome, and it means a lot to me. It pushes me forward, it makes me train more, it makes me do better. So so yeah, I really appreciate that. Thank you for all the questions you had today, for spending this hour with me. It's awesome to hang out with you guys. I'm sure we'll do that more in the future. Uh, I will publish the fight hopefully on Monday. I'll do my best to do that, and the fight is in 3 days. So yeah, I'll do my best for all of us. Thank you again. You look sleepy, Rokas. I mean, I just woke up. Liquid cadmus. I woke up an hour ago, and I'm still actually honestly I'm still in my bed. I'm just relaxing, chilling before my fight. It's good to see you here, by the way. Sorry that video quality. I know it's my phone, which has been dropped 100 times, and it's just like, oh, you mean like the fight video quality? I have a guy who's really good at filming. He's gonna film it, so hopefully it's gonna be good. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, let's not make this too long anymore. Again, thank you everyone for everything. We'll catch up soon, and this is gonna be awesome. So if you have any more questions, of course, let me know in the comments. I'll do my best to answer, and let's keep in touch. And now I just need to learn how to turn this off. We'll get him. Thank you. Bye.